to Red Ted Art. We're going to be doing Wrek This Journal again today. Now this is a Wrek This Journal where you join in with me. So you can either create art in your own journal, whether it's a plain one or a Wrek This Journal, but also at the end of the video you pick the next challenge for me. Now today I always do one that I choose and one that you choose. The one I'm choosing today is the Draw Some Lines page, and I'm going to use a technique that kind of emulates Ian Davenport. Now he's a real artist and he creates these amazing walls covered in paint stripes and they look amazing. I think they're called paint puddles. So if you look up Ian Davenport paint puddles or look at the link down below, you can see some of his work and I just think it's beautiful. I saw some of his work once at the British Museum, a whole huge wall like a canteen at school covered in these stripes, and they just looked amazing. So today we're going to have a go at something that emulates Ian Davenport. Obviously it's never as good as his work, but it's pretty cool and I just love the final effect. So come on, let's take a look and see how to do it. Okay, so this is a cautionary tale about experimenting and giving things a go. Do as I say, not as I do, because I learned the hard way and I almost literally wrecked my journal. I mean, look at that. The paint went everywhere and it made my colours run and it almost made me sad, but at the same time, and also these little black things, they're bugs. Isn't that disgusting? Anyway, so the cautionary tale is, I did a test page. It went really well. Brilliant. Don't know why that worked out so well. When I did the real page, the paint went everywhere. So when you're doing messy pages in future, always wrap it in cling film or baking paper or something like that to protect the pages behind it, especially any favourite pages like this one. And then thirdly, don't stick bright colours out into the sunshine to dry because it will attract bugs. So if you're doing something in your Wrek This Journal that takes ages to dry, like this one does, actually do it separately. Either do it at a time when you can wait for 3 days and not touch your journal, or do it on a separate piece of paper like this one, and that's totally acceptable. You cut the pages out of the Wrek This Journal and then you follow the process that I'm about to show you next. So that was fun, wasn't it? A complete disaster, but I do love this sheet. So let's take a look and see how to do it properly. Okay, the best way to do an Ian Davenport painting or Ian Davenport inspired painting is actually this way, not the way I did before. I have a box here, cereal box. I have some grease-proof paper because that means the paint won't stick to it, and I've taped very carefully my piece of paper over the front. And now we're going to repeat the same process, but this time it means it won't go in between the pages and down below and stick everything together and make a big mess. Now the tape might come off a little bit, so you could use sellotape if that's easier. But to be honest, the process now is the same. And then we're going to let it dry indoors. And basically what you do is you make sure you've got some runny paint and you do squeeze out quite a lot. I know it's not a straight, neat line, but otherwise it won't drip to the bottom. And this time, if it goes behind the page, it doesn't matter because we've got the grease-proof paper there. Right, doesn't that look amazing? Now, because it's not in my diary, I can now leave it. It'll probably have to stay there at least 3 or 4 days, unlike my diary that I put outside into the sunshine in the hope that it would dry quicker. But this time, I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to leave it, and I'm going to hope that the cats do not step in it. Anyway, let's come back to it soon. Okay, so this has been drying for a few days. I think it looks beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, and you can carefully peel off your masking tape on that side. And on the side, you can leave it on actually, and you can tuck it behind if you prefer. In fact, we could have done that on that side. And then you carefully peel it off there and you have, oh my goodness, this is just such a beautiful Ian Davenport inspired page. Now, if you're doing this as part of an art journal, at this point I would now cut it down to size and stick it into your art journal. And I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. Or you could frame it and have it on the wall. It looks absolutely beautiful. So that's how you do drip art painting the neat way. Okay, you guys asked for sticky things. Here we go. Let's see what happens. This is just ordinary PVA glue. I'm just going to follow the pattern here a bit. Don't worry but too much about how thick it is or if it's super neat. Just go round. Okay, so we have the glue as instructed. Thank you. Now I just did some patterns here and some random swirls here. You could write your name, for example, just see what happens. Oh, the sun's coming in. That's quite nice. And now on this side only, not on this one, I'm going to put salt on top. Here I've got a big bag of salt. This is why I've got my journal on a tray. Okay, so don't do, you know, not too much. Just enough to cover the glue. Okay, you can do both sides, but I've decided to do one with salt and one without, and you'll see in the next step why. But obviously we now need to let this dry fully. You can either shake off the salt now or let it dry a little bit and then give it a shake. I think I'm going to just give it let it dry for a few minutes, give it a shake and then let it dry fully, and then we'll come back to it. This is so exciting. Okay, so for the impatient one, I'm going to tip it off before it has fully dried. Just because I want to see what it looks like. I obviously didn't learn from my last project about test pages. And I should have probably tested it. I think what it is that this paper is very absorbent, so the glue has spread a bit, but I still think this looks great. And we will come back to it once it's fully dry and do the next step. Okay, as you can see, I put some little baking paper at the back to help it dry a little bit. Especially that was particularly useful with the glue one, because look, it came off the page. I'm just going to give this another shake just to see if any more wants to come off. And now I'm going to take, people normally do it with something called liquid watercolours. Now I don't have any of those. So what I've got is, I've got some food colouring in water. Just water down a little bit. And if that doesn't work, I've also got some normal watercolours on standby. So this is an experiment as we go along. And I've focused on the primary colours because I also want to see if we can do some colour theory. So what you need to do is get your brush really wet, and then you can just dab it and look, watch it spread. That's so pretty, isn't it? And then just see it travelling up. Of course, if you've got the neater glue and it hasn't gone in between, then you'll get some really nice, just sort of central lines. But I don't really mind. I still think it looks great. Let's try with another colour. Let's see. Oh, I think I've contaminated that now. Yeah, look. That's green because I had blue on my brush. I should maybe get different brushes out just so that I don't contaminate the yellow anymore. Let me get another brush. Because the yellow is quite a weak colour. You don't want to contaminate it with blue. Oh, look at that. But I love, look how pretty it makes the blue. Bit of colour theory. So yellow and blue makes green. And then we maybe go up and see what happens when you get another paintbrush and a bit of red. Okay, there you go. Isn't that amazing? In a minute I'm going to do a close-up and show you the colour as it runs along the salt, and I think it looks really lovely. Now, there's the other page. What I did here, I saved the salt that I brushed off earlier, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the same colours Just move this across a little bit so you can see. And we're going to paint in between. So this is again like watercolours, in between the glue. And you can see that it's giving it a nice kind of contrasting texture. And whilst it's still wet, let's have a look at this. We're going to brush on, put a little bit of salt on. And the salt should react with the watercolours and create really nice patterns. So I might just start off. I should have actually started in done a pattern truly. So nice and wet. Put a bit of salt. And then I want to do another colour. I'm going to kind of try and get the rainbow going up. Should have done that sooner really. Did you notice I kind of made this up as I went along, as per usual? I should have really had a plan. And then I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit here and there. Not as much as I did down here. And then once again, we're going to let it dry. But that is pretty much it. So I'm going to quickly move on. We'll have a finished picture of it obviously at the end. But also we're going to have a take a look at what the next challenge is going to be. So hopefully that's the challenge complete. Now it's time for next week's Wrek This Journal and the chance for you to tell me what to do next. Remember there's an eye poll up here and you can choose whichever one to do next. But let's see. Let luck tell us what to do next. First page, write one word over and over. Make a paper chain. This page is a sign. What do you want it to say? Roll the journal down a large hill. Right then, so eye poll up here. You tell me what to do next. In the meantime, please add this to your playlist, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. But above all, keep watching the channel, keep creating. I think it's amazing what you guys are producing. And of course, we'd love to see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.